My name is Niall O'Dowd. I'm the founding publisher of Irish America magazine, which was founded 30 years ago next month. And as you know, I was a boy publisher. I was only 10 years old at the time. Remarkable achievement. And tonight we're featuring 18 years of the Wall Street 50. And we could hardly have imagined how successful a venture it would be. We were told by many that the Irish and Wall Street did not mix, were not interested in their heritage. And 900 honorees later, we think we know the answer to that one. And it's here in this room tonight. But the most special thing for me about the Wall Street 50 is not that people make a lot of money, but the side of the Irish and indeed all of Wall Street that rarely gets mentioned. The incredible goodness and ability to give in huge amounts to charitable causes, without which so many charitable organizations would not be able to function. I think our honoree tonight reflects that brave and great tradition. Sean Kelly is rarely honored because he never wants the limelight. Yet somehow he's always there when he's needed. There are few more dedicated people to Irish causes, such as peace in his beloved Northern Ireland, the American Ireland Fund, and numerous other charities he is associated with here. So thank you, Sean. And I just want to tell you that we had one problem with Sean, that he wanted Liam Neeson's face photoshopped. But we took a vote of the editorial committee and it failed by one vote. And his wife Mary's with him tonight. Thank you, Mary. And you all know the phrase, behind every successful man there's a very surprised woman. Well, Mary's very, very surprised. But he exemplifies all that is best in the Irish souls of giving and helping. And we're delighted that he's our honoree tonight. I think that as you look around the room, you'll see people with very similar stories to Sean. People who started with nothing, built up great careers, and went on to do their very best, not just for their country, but for their community, for their heritage. And we want to make you all feel very welcome and to acknowledge you and all that you have done here tonight. Would you now welcome, please, the founding editor of Irish America magazine, Patricia Harty.
Thank you, Neil. I was wondering if you were going to mention the 30 years. Are you going to hide from it? Ambassador Anderson, Consul General Barbara Jones, Deputy Consul Anna McGillicuddy, honoured guest. Let's put our hands together and give our Wall Street 50 honorees a great round of applause. This is always a terrific party, and I'm delighted to welcome you all here. And a special fault to all our first-timers, as well as our more seasoned honorees. People like Sean Lane and Barbara Coster, who's here with her table of women again. Barbara, thank you. Thank you, Barbara. And we have two sisters on our list for the first time. They're here with their parents. Kathleen and Tara McCabe. Where are you guys? Up Leitrim. Thank you, Invest Northern Ireland, Gary Handley and Andrea for sponsoring the reception, and also for the Guinness engraving station. I think, Tony Dalton, you must have all your Guinness glasses by now. I think all of you have enough for a six-pack. I know that Neil mentioned the Wall Street 50 and how much they do in terms of philanthropy. There's also another arm, and we've noticed this over the years as well, is how willing they are to mentor other kids, especially coming out from Ireland, who are finishing maybe their last year in business school and provide internships with their companies, and it's vitally important, especially now with immigration being so hard to get immigrate here legally. This is a channel to get some of our best and brightest jobs. So thank you for that. And actually, with our Wall Street 50, please rise and we can give them another round of applause. I think it's just great. This is our 30th year, which is a kind of incredible milestone. But there doesn't seem to be an end in sight, so you'll probably see me back here next year and the following year. And I guess the reason why I've stayed so long at the magazine, and people who know me know that I'm always the last one to leave a good party, but I love a good story, and there's always great stories at Irish America. There's constantly stream of stories that come in. So if we were to publish for another 100 years, we wouldn't run out of them. And in fact, I hope that the magazine or one like it will be around in 100 years, and that in a room just like this, there'll be people like this gathered, and Tara McCabe will be saying to somebody sitting beside her, or Tara's great-granddaughter will be saying, you know, my great-grandmother was on this list back in the 21st century. So I just, you know, the Irish story is never ending, and that's one thing I've learned over my years as editor, that it goes on and it goes on. It doesn't matter how many generations, it's still there. And I can never be in a room like this without thinking of the early immigrants and what they went through. And as I flick back through all of the years, I realized how lucky I was and all the great people that I got to meet, because I'm editor of the magazine, Seamus Heaney and Gregory Peck and all these great people. And the North, two of the themes that throughout all of the issues, you had immigration and you had the North of Ireland. And it was fascinating. I did an interview with Gerry Adams back in 1991, and I remember being surprised to hear him say, well, that it was time for peace and time for a political solution and time for talks. And it was amazing to see that then over the next couple of years unfold, and people like Tom Moran and Bill Flynn and Ed Kenny and our publisher Niall O'Dowd get on board and make that happen. And all of those lunches that you gave out at Mutual of America, where you had people from all sides come. So it's just been a fantastic experience working at the magazine. So. But there's one little story that I came across when I was looking back through the issues, and that's the story of Seneca Village. And it was over here in Central Park, and it was about 250 people living in this little community that went from like 1825 to around 57 when they decided they were going to build a park, and they just steamrolled all their houses. But it was African American, Irish, and German. And what I loved about this story is that the midwife was Irish. And I was just thinking of her bringing all those babies into the world, you know, from different backgrounds and that diversity. And they're Americans, and that's what we have here. And again, I was thinking how lucky I am to be here, to have found my spot, and to be able to call it home, and how I think we all feel the same way about America. So though we may have some problems, And Northern Ireland and immigration, like those two themes, they encapsulate who our keynote speaker is, Sean Kelly. He grew up in Belfast in the worst of times, and he's an immigrant with a great love of America, but he's still doing all he can for his hometown. So I think that his story also kind of reflects many of those in this room today. Let's have a round of applause for Sean Kelly. Stand up, Sean. We couldn't have a better cover for our 30th anniversary issue. I really think so. So here we are. Let's think of the ancestors tonight and evoke their memory. And we have a very special person in this room who's going to sing some songs for us. And I think she invokes the spirits of the ancestors better than anybody I know. And that is Mary Deedy. And she came over here years ago as part of Shimsa, this Irish song and dance group, and she never went back. And so she's here tonight. She's got a great show. The last show that I saw of hers was great. It was called The Irish Lark, or maybe Mary is our Irish Lark. But it went from Ireland to America and back again. So she's got all of this wonderful repertoire of Irish songs and American songbook. And she actually has a great show coming up on October 4th, which is on Sunday, and it's at the West Bank Cafe. And she also has a show on October 7th at 7 p.m. So 4 p.m. on Sunday and 7 p.m. October 7th at the West Bank Cafe. And it's called My Love is a Wanderer. Will you please welcome the wonderful singer, Mary Deedy.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. In the second part of our program. Thank you for being so quiet over there. We don't have to throw anyone out this year, not even Tom Moran. Hi, Tom. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank our sponsors and the people who made tonight possible. Sincere thanks to Invest Northern Ireland for joining us tonight as the lead sponsor and for hosting the fantastic cocktail reception this evening. We're delighted to have Andrea Hohian and Gary Hanley with us tonight. Just like to mention some of our guests. We also want to thank KPMG for their great support. The ambassador from Ireland to the United States, Ambassador Anne Anderson, is with us. First female ambassador and the first female consul general, Barbara Jones, is with us. And a very special welcome to a man who's been just probably the greatest supporter of all of Irish America, particularly since Don Keogh has passed on, Tom Moran. A special welcome to, I think she actually left early, but Loretta Brennan Luxman was here. Thank you, Loretta. The head of Tourism Ireland and North America, Alison Metcalf, was the sponsor. Thank you. All the way from Dublin in Ireland, Tony Condon, UCD Michael Smurfit Graduate Business School. Thank you, Tony. Sponsor. Kyle Clifford, newly come to the American Ireland Fund, is here. Thank you, Kyle. And mercifully, he's better looking than Kieran McLaughlin. Special thanks to our sponsors. Many of you have already imbibed this product, the Guinness, so thank you for that, Guinness. House of Waterford Crystal for the honorary awards, and 1-800 Flowers for the floral arrangements. Thank you all very much. I'd like to welcome a very special guest, Jim Clerkin. Jim is the CEO of Moët Hennessy and will be our annual Business 100 keynote speaker on the 3rd of December. Jim, thank you. Also like to mention some other Business 100 honorees: Aisling McDonough, Ted Sullivan, Matt Gorman, Gavin Carr, Mary Ann Callahan. Thank you for coming. And from our Healthcare and Life Sciences 50 honorees, Dr. Joe Mulvihill, Elaine Brennan, and Ruth Riddick. Thank you. It's my job now to introduce the person who's introducing Liam Neeson, Sean Kelly, the guest of honor. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very privileged to have with us the Irish diplomat Anne Anderson, who is the 17th ambassador of Ireland to the United States. She's also been Ambassador of Ireland to the United Nations, the European Union, France and Monaco, and the first woman to hold each of these positions. She's a native of Clonmel, Tipperary in Ireland. And I just want to say about Anne that since she took the job, she's been a wonderful advocate for the Irish in America, just tremendous. And she has joined with the community in many of the issues of great concern, particularly immigration, where she's been very much to the forefront. And the great thing about Anne is she keeps connected to that community, the general Irish American community, and really does a tremendous job keeping us up to date on everything that's happening in Washington. And we just love that kind of involvement from the Irish government because it really helps us work with them to bring about the great achievements as we have in the past, such as the Irish peace process and the American involvement, and before that the Morrison and Donnelly visas. So Anne, thank you for all your activism and your support for the community. We really appreciate it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, will you give a hand to a historic figure, the first Irish female ambassador to the United States, Anne Anderson.